Are we racing sports racing cars between 1960 and 1966? An initial frenetic getaway. John Surtees on pole with a poor start, and that allowed, well, it was Kirkcaldy with the best start, a little too good in the end. Ben Mitchell initially falling back early doors. Ian Simmons in the Lola fighting it out really, but Alice, it was all go from the very start.
It certainly was. Some nice clean moves, jostling position. That was where Surtees initially was trying to take the lead, did take the lead. There was Alex Brundle carving his way through from 10th on the grid before he did, of course, eventually have a car issue and had to box. But it was some nice, clean racing, I would say, Harry, and exciting racing.
Certainly was. That number one GT40 was looking quick in the hands of Alex Brundle early doors, really wringing the neck of the number one car and making up positions. He started down in 10th and he was absolutely clawing through the field, all of it to be undone by a possible issue with the car. Further back in the middle pack, carnage, and that chicane proving a little too tight for some, with the McLaren chevron of Andrew Haddon having contact with a Bellinger early doors. And meanwhile, the chevrons were looking quick right from the very start. Big lockup from Kirkcaldy, who had the penalty but wasn't letting that stop him or slow him down. This was when we saw Brundle carving through the field, and actually it was Ian Simmons who, while trying to figure out where he was on the track, got a little bit caught out with the traffic. In the end, he still ended up on the podium once the issues for Brundle struck. That chevron though of Kirkcaldy and of Mitchell, nimble, light, absolutely epic stuff, toe to toe. It nearly went south though for Kirkcaldy. The rear stepping out, fighting with Brundle and navigating the traffic. That was what proved to be tricky towards the end of that 25-minute all-out race. Mitchell and Kirkcaldy fighting side by side. Mitchell in the 95 chevron, round the outside, both of them tucked up behind Bellinger in the Cooper in front, who was doing a sterling job for as long as he could. In the end, he fell back to 7th place come the end of the race. And just a magnificent example there of the different shapes and sizes of these sports racing prototype cars that all raced between the 1960 era and 1964. That was what saw Bellinger end up down in 7th after he went out wide, spinning onto the grass, which is still a little bit damp and dewy. Managed to recover and keep his foot to the floor and rejoin, hand up in the air. And that was what cost John Surtees in the McLaren the win. Contact with the GT40 further back in the pack while trying to lap, and while rejoining had to let all of his rivals through. He did recover to 2nd, but the win was the one that got away. Kirkcaldy took it on the road, but with the penalty, it went to the other chevron of Ben Mitchell, who took a magnificent win from a magnificent race. The Surtees Trophy then done and dusted here for the 81st members meeting.